Live. Good. Okay, well, welcome everybody to our podcast. Today, July the 9th, 10 a.m. Central Time. Welcome. And today, our engineer is Sue Ann, the girl everybody knows, but nobody has ever seen.
No one ever seen. That's right.
She always works behind the curtain. And so thank you, Sue Ann, for being here. And thanks, Tim and Randy and myself. Micah will not be here. He's traveling. He's I think he's singing to the mountains in Wyoming. What's the hills are alive with my voice?
Hills are alive. That's right.
The sound of music. Yeah.
Yeah, with his voice. And so we got Tim and Randy. We have a new member on our MicroMoment team named Deshaun. And Deshaun's I've known him for a long time. And this was his first day. We don't have him hooked up for the for this podcast, but he will be next Thursday. So he'll be on next Thursday. And he had a super day for his first day. He's trading a corporate account. Actually, today he traded his own account, but normally he's trading the corporate account like Micah and Tim do. But they hadn't completely finished getting it all squared away. So it's there. They're getting whatever they're doing. But anyhow, it'll be probably on there tomorrow. But he had a good day. And
Tim, you can see Joe didn't get the memo.
The memo of what?
You're right.
What?
It's gray shirt day, gray t-shirt day.
Yeah.
What was
You see me,
T-shirt, glasses.
me and Tim, you see that? The
No,
glasses,
I did not get the memo.
glasses, mustache, and the gray t-shirt. That's what today was.
Well, who sent that memo out? I didn't get anything like that.
It went out to everybody.
I didn't get it for whatever.
Everybody else knows it's gray t-shirt day today.
Well, I know it. I know it. Anyway, you notice my upper lip, how shiny it is?
Yeah.
You can see, this is the first time. It wasn't on the podcast last week. It was 4th of July. But I had this terrible, terrible accident. And it was just really embarrassing. And with my vanity and all, so I didn't want anybody to see that it cut this upper lip. And that what you see on it right now is Vaseline. And but you should have seen it just as late as yesterday. It was all puffy like that, And but it still looked like that. I wouldn't be here today. What I did, I had it was late in the afternoon, and my wife didn't want to do dinner or anything. She said, "Why don't you go over to the grill and bring back some ribs and bring back me a bottle of wine?" So I went over there, ordered the ribs, got a bottle of wine, and they put the bottle of wine in a big sack. And they put the ribs to go in a big sack. So I've got these two big sacks like this, right? Now, I've got on my sunglasses because this is about 6 o'clock, something like that in the evening. And I'm walking back home, about a block, and I get close to the building, and I really didn't need to have my mask on at that time because it's all outside. So I'm kind of struggling to put my mask on. It gets tangled up with my glasses. Meanwhile, the door opens to my place where I live, and I take the first step. And between that and trying to put the mask on and the glasses coming off and holding these two sacks, fell down right on the step, right there on my lip. So that was the accident. And
that could not have felt good.
For our people attending today, you might go to our website, www.micromomenttrading.com. And all of Randy's seminars and what he does are on there. The Cal Report is on there, which is free. It's been published over 20 years. You can get the Cal Report. You'll get it every Friday. Doesn't cost anything, but it's valuable because it tells not only words of wisdom from me in the editorial section, but it also tells all about what Randy does and lists all his seminars, the schedules, and so on and so forth. So it's really, really an important document to have. You get it every Friday, and it's free. And again, www.micromomenttrading.com, and that's the website. And that's the only one we use now. It used to be compound stock earnings, but we got it all consolidated into the one, which is www.micromomenttrading.com. Also, we have coming up, what is midweek, what's the date, 17th and 18th for the covered call seminar?
It's the 18th and 19th.
18th and 19th. You can sign up for that.
But it's next weekend.
You can go to the website and ask to sign up for that, or you can sign up. There should be a link on the website, or you can just contact Susan at www.micromomenttrading.com, and she'll get you signed up for it. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, from about 9 in the morning to at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. For years, I've done it just by myself. For the first time last month, we do it every couple of months. So a couple of months ago, we did it, and we had Randy on there, had Tim, had Micah, And I guess we'll have Deshaun on there also this time. And, they're not mandatory for them to be there. They just wanted to be there. And because there's so many things over the years, Randy's been doing this now 15, 16 years, and we've been doing this over 20 years. There's so many things that the MicroMoment now has kind of morphed into trades that Randy does. Randy kind of morphed MicroMoment in there. And so it's a good combination of people that like that style trading, the more traditional covered call trading, adjusted for some fantastic MicroMoment trades. And I'll let Randy talk about that in a minute. I almost feel like Mike can make it doing all this talking. But if you have any questions, you can type in any questions you might have. And we see Martha. We're going to get to hers in a minute, and Joseph's and Deshaun's. Deshaun checked in also, and Pat. So we'll get to those in a minute. So Tim, you guys had a fantastic day today. Why don't you kind of tell everybody what y'all do and how quick? Now these trades, these are real trades. They're doing them in a corporate account. Our corporate account. Each one of them is a separate account. They're not trading corporate. They're not trading. Everybody trading the same account. Separate corporate accounts. Except Randy. I think Randy just does his in his own personal account. Has for years and years and years. But that's how they're trading. And these trades in the MicroMoments usually last 15 to 20 seconds. And I have to confess this. Tim did one today, and he spent in there longer than about a minute, and he lost 1.something%. But other than that, he had one hell of a day. So that's what happened, though. Okay, right. Tim, go ahead. Explain to everybody what you do.
Sure, Red Ron. Hey, everybody. So MicroMoment trading. We are very fast trading at the day level. We look for small moves or even large moves, but moves that happen very quickly. We with our ICE charts, our proprietary charting system, we look for the beginning of momentum. We jump into a trade, we write it, and we get out. Most of our trades last, like Joe said, 10 to 20, even 30 seconds. But even more and more, our trades are getting faster and tighter as we go along. I think we had 8 or so trades today, most of which were positive, except for my one loss today. Had a good day today. We had at 10 o'clock, I think the market was, the options market was reacting to the Supreme Court announcements. And we had a significant push down happen right around 10 o'clock. That continued for quite a while. And people were making a ton of money off that. I think I hit that 2 or 3 times myself. Didn't happen quite as much on Q, but SPY, I think, broke down a good $2. And it was great. It was a classic. That's what we do here. It moves fast. We are in cash at the end of every day. Well, at the end of the session. In fact, we're in cash 98, 99% of the time. We're in actual trades, maybe 2-3 minutes for a session.
If you ever worry about or you right now you trade money, well, you don't, because it's not in the account it's not in there obligated for very long. So
that's right. That's right. We just hit it very quickly. We have very few rules. One really rule. The rest are just kind of guidelines. The rule is, when that trade turns, we get out very quickly. And we have been continuing to modify our technique, so we get out before trade turns. We know how to hit that momentum, get in, get out, maximize our returns, and move on.
Yeah, let me say this. When you attend their sessions, there's a session in the morning, about an hour every morning, about 8:30 Central Time when the market opens, and usually over about 9:30. And that's it. And then sometimes they'll come back later in the day, usually between 12 and 3, because the market closes at 3 o'clock Central Time, and they'll have a second session, and they do fantastic trades generally during the second session. If the morning session is slow, they'll do like today. They did 6 trades. Sometimes they'll do 12 or 13. One day last week they did about 13 trades, and all these are really, really quick. And Tim just trades Q generally, almost 100% of the time, and Micah trades SPY and Microsoft, and then Deshaun's going to be trading SPY at this time in history. Mm-hmm. And So that's what happens. But what you do is during this session, you just listen to them. You've got your charts up there, which comes with. I had a question down here. I think Robert says good morning. Pat said, I'm going to sign up for MMT soon. Do the charts all come with it, or do I have to have the toolbox subscription also? The charts come with the MicroMoment sign up, and it's the advanced chart. It's the one they use, and when you sign in the morning, you're going to see that chart up there. And then they're going to very specifically talk about when they start to create a position. They're going to say we're prepping QQQ if it's Tim, and he's going to tell you exactly which one he's doing, and when he enters and when he exits, and he's going to tell you why he's entering and why he's exiting. He's not doing it for you, but you're going to see and you're going to learn from watching that chart and listening to what they have to say, and you can ask them questions during the week. Except on Friday, you can ask them questions on the platform, the platform that we use, GoToMeeting, or we open up the phone lines so you can call them and we'll unmute you and you can talk to them or whoever you want to for as long as you want. So that's how that program works, and it's very, very profitable. We're into the 66. This is the 67th week since it went a subscription service. We've had the service doing it our own account for 3 years, almost 4 years, but we've only opened it up a little over a year ago. And so far, the average returns for those 62 weeks, as of this last Friday, everything's always computed the previous Friday, 93.22% per week. And let me give you an example of how powerful that is. If you take $2,000, put it into account, and you can do this virtually, try it out. $2,000. If you have a kid, instead of wasting money sending him to some stupid college where he's going to go out and try to get a job, give him $2,000, open an account, and require him to take this program. If he has $2,000 and he just makes 6% per week, 6% per week. Now today, they made 16.87% net. They had one small loss, 1.8%. Now, if you make 6% per week in 24 months, there's 211 trading days a year, I think. But in 24 months, you're going to have an account with 850,000 or something like that. Now, you tell your little kid, okay, look, here's your allowance. You're going to keep one of those 6% per week. So you're going to make $50,000 per week and let the other keep in there and keep growing. That's exactly, now you can imagine, you're going to make more than 6%, but let's say you only made 6% and you never put another penny in that account. You just keep reinvesting the money that's in there. It's going to compound, and that's what happens. That's how significant this technique is. So don't burden your, weirdo kid with, some kind of thing like a big loan or something. Give him a try and let him do this. If he doesn't make it, kick him out of the house. Tell him to go get a job, go to school or something. But if you can't make it doing this, you can't make it. And there's only one technique. There's only one thing you do, and they teach you this: how to get out of a trade within the first couple of seconds. If it turns red, you just get out of it. You just forget about it because you're going to be back in it probably 2 minutes later or 2 seconds later. But you got to get out of it. You can't wait there and hope that it's going to turn around, it's going to go up. You're not going to hope on any of this stuff. You just do it. Now, was that a fair description, Tim?
Yeah, I think that was very accurate.
Okay, good.
That's absolutely it.
Good. And Micah's a good example. Micah's just turned, I think, did he turn 22 or something like that, right?
He just turned 22.
He talks a lot. And he's up in Seattle. He talks a lot. And in fact, I've known him. He was on a cruise. We do cruises, and he's on a Caribbean cruise for a week. And I never knew him before then. That's when I met him. He showed up. He was 16 years old. And he was talking then. And finally, he kept talking after now he's 21. So 5 years of talking, I finally hired him. I figured, there's only way to get rid of this guy. Just hire him. Maybe he'll shut up.
Just give
but he's still talking. So anyhow, and Randy has been with us so long. Look at him. He's got a long gray beard. He's not looking real good today. He looks better. Hey, did you see Phoenix? The temperature in Phoenix, where Randy's originally from Phoenix, it was like 116 or something a couple of days ago. Huge.
Yeah. That's normal, July.
Randy, tell the folks what you do. You're a little different twist here on all this stuff.
Yeah, I take a slower bent than Tim and Micah. in and out of things in seconds and minutes. But the advanced charting momentum trade is more like a day or two or three, and then the covered calls are more like for a week. So I teach two different techniques. One is momentum trade, which is just a slow version of Tim and Micah's MicroMoment trading. It's reading the advanced chart that's proprietary to Joe, and it lets you know when is the beginning of the rising cycle. So we're looking for beginning of rising cycles, buying a call, letting it go up and selling it. And that usually takes about a day or two. I have a teaching seminar every Monday morning where we go through 35 or more charts looking for what we call that sweet spot, which is the beginning of that rising cycle. And typically we find one. This week, none of the charts look like they were going to be in a strong rising cycle for this week. And we can see yesterday and today, we've got some weakness coming in after hitting record highs on the NASDAQ. Yesterday was a record all-time high, but now we're starting to pull back. So that the charts were leading us down the right path to say, wait a little bit, let's see, let things come back, and then we'll get into some more momentum trades. So that's every Monday morning. So you learn how to read, I think it's 21 technical indicators that are all rolled into this one chart. And so you learn how to read that chart and look for the beginning of those cycles. Now, it can be used for other things too. We use it for covered call entries as well, but it gives you good advanced information about the direction that we're headed. And then on Wednesdays, I teach covered call, synthetic covered call entry positions in a whole process. And one thing I think that Joe probably mentioned it, the techniques that I teach are rule-based. It's a set of rules. You learn the rules and you follow the rules. We're not speculating. We're not guessing. We're not hoping. We're following a set of rules for entry of positions. So we use those rules to identify the positions to start with. We use charts and we use the set of rules. And then we enter a position and we wait till the end of expiration, which is typically the week. It's almost exclusively weekly synthetic covered call options, and in the positions and out of them usually in less than a week. So last week, the positions that were entered, I'll get my list up here. And as Joe mentioned, included in the service, not only I teach for a couple hours every Wednesday morning, and those sessions are being recorded at the same time. So then they're archived and you can watch them later on, whether you're there in person and then watch it later as well, or you can't make it to the live session, then you can get all the teaching by watching the recording. And you can watch it as many times as you like so that you can go through it over and over and over again, almost like a instructional video type. When I find a position that meets the requirements that I'm going to put in my own account, then I send an alert out that says, here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at doing this. And after I send that alert out, I put it in my own account and it fills. And then I send another alert out that says, here's exactly what happened. So you get to see real time exactly how these processes are taking place. Not, here's what you could have done last year, or look at all the history that I went through and look at what happened in January. This would have been a perfect time. Well, that's all well and good, but you can't do those things. So you get to see exactly what's going on at the moment. You can follow right along in a virtual trading account and not risk any money while you're learning. And that's what the great thing about having that virtual trading account. So the positions that closed out last Friday, IWM 11.1%, only 45 cents a share invested. And these, by using these synthetic covered call, these options, it's not paying $1,000 a share or buying Amazon for what's it at $3,100 or something a share. Last week, my Amazon closed out for 11.3% return. I only had $4.54 a share invested with Amazon. Raytheon, 4.9% return, only $1.43 a share invested. Disney, 36.9% return.
Wow.
73 cents a share invested. Apple, 4.1% return, only $2.40 a share invested. Apple's trading at $300 and something. So you can't afford to go buy 100 shares of Apple and put in 30 or 37 or $38,000, but you could afford to spend $240 to get one contract of the Apple and make 4.1%. CrowdStrike 8.3%, $2.77 a share invested, and then JP Morgan 7.7% return, $2.32 a share invested. Now, the one of the big benefits of having this process is we invest within the money covered calls. So that's not what the industry does out there. What all the speculators do, they're selling or buying out of the money calls, trying to speculate: is this going to go up or not? These positions are in the money call, so the stock can go up and it gets called out. And our goal is to be called out every week. That means that you get all your capital back and lock in that income. The stock can go up after we enter it. We're for sure called out. The stock can stay at the same price as the time that we entered it, still get called out. The stock can go down and we still get called out. If it goes down too much, then I have what we call the management techniques. I have additional processes to implement to continue managing that position, generating income along the way until we're called out for a positive called return. That means getting all of our capital back. So all the positions I entered for last week were all called out. I've got 6 positions on for this week that will be more than likely called out tomorrow, and if they're not. And even though the market is down quite a bit today, right? 1.5% down, almost 2% down on the Dow. My positions are still in the money, and that when they're in the money, that means if they get called out at that level, I'll get all my capital back and lock in those returns. So that's all taught on every Wednesday morning. In addition to that, on Thursday evenings, I have a covered call coaching, small group coaching session that is based on the traditional covered calls that Joe developed a long time ago and teaches on the 2-day seminar coming up in another week, where it's actually buying the stock and selling the call. Now that's the most conservative technique that there is out there in the market. You're buying a good quality stock, and then you're just selling calls and generating income against that stock till it either gets called out at what you paid for it, or if you don't ever want to sell it, you just keep generating income week after week after week by selling calls against it. I go through that process on Thursday nights, so that follows up with Joe's teaching on that 2-day seminar. So that's all coming up. Got lots of people that are actually joining. And I think more and more people have time now, Joe, because they're sitting at home, either working at home and they have more free time because they didn't have to travel an hour and a half to go to the office and an hour and a half back, so they got all that extra time.
That's it.
And so they're saying, hey, I could do something else, and they can learn how to do micro-moment trading. A
lot of them probably never go back to work.
And therefore they might, and a lot of them are going to stay at home after that, and they're going to start working from home even after we open back up, and they're going to have that extra time, and they can learn these processes. And especially those on the western half of the country, they can do Tim and Micah in the morning before they even start work. They can generate their income, and if they want to do cover calls that takes less time and is less moment sensitive, then they can learn how to do that process as well. So we got something for everybody out there.
Yes, we do.
Let me add a couple of things here that apply to both Tim and your techniques, and that's the leverage. Like you mentioned that, you had $4, $2, whatever tied up in the stock for a week or something like that. Where normally it'd be $2,000 or $3,000 for Amazon or whatever. But you're doing, and we're not using margin here. Margin will kill you when you're doing anything, regular stock transactions or particularly covered calls and MicroMoment transactions. We don't use leverage. We don't use margin. I'm sorry, we don't borrow money to get those $2 and whatever rates on those positions. We're just using leverage. We're going out there, and that's what these things cost. So you're tying up a huge price stock for little to practically no money, and you're not borrowing money from your broker. We never ever do that. For example, there was a broker, not a broker, but a client of Robinhood recently committed suicide because he got a margin call. And actually, he didn't get a margin call. He just didn't know what the hell he was doing. And but he committed suicide over that. But
that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
He thought he lost $740,000, but he actually had a profit. And
Yeah, he actually had a profit. Yeah.
He wasn't getting any coaching from anyone. He didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't understand that the particular transaction he did closes over 2 days. And the first close always shows you owe a hell of a lot of money. And the second one is where you get taken out of everything, you have a profit. And he didn't know that. So he committed suicide.
Sad story.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Very sad.
So that's huge. And like Tim on QQQ, today he'll be in QQQ position for $2.40, $2.65. That's a SPY. $2 for SPY SPY index. QQQ $2.65, $2.37, $1.78. I mean, and so you can get huge leverage, and he's only in those for 30 seconds or less, generally, except for the one he lost money on, which was over a minute. That's why he lost money. But other than that, it's only 1.89%. So that's the beauty of this. And Sue Ann, if you'll do this, I don't know how you do it because I don't have the controls there. But when Marcus is our engineer here, he pushes a button and pops up these questions over here so we can actually read them a lot better and everybody can see them. I don't know if you know how to do that. If you don't, we're going to read them anyhow. But if you can figure out how to just pop them up, then they'll come up and everybody can see them besides just us reading. So, but let's go through some of these questions now. And by the way, again, what Randy was talking about, you're gonna get that when you get that free cow report. The one that's free comes out every Friday. All his different projects and what he's doing and how you sign up for him and whatever. But sign up for this covered call and leaps seminar, 2-day seminar next weekend, because he's going to be on there and you can talk to him. We open the phones on that also, and you can talk to him and ask him questions. Ask Tim questions, ask Micah, ask Deshaun. And anyhow, so let me go down here and hit some of these questions. This is Karen. And
Jody, you see the one from Martha there? She said, Tim, Micah, and Joe have taught me a skill that has changed my life. Can't thank you enough. There it is. Hey, so I figured it out. She did it. There it is. There's Martha's.
Okay, there's Martha. How you doing, Martha? Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. Martha, by the way, is a client of the MicroMoment. She's on there 99% of the time in the morning during the first session. And by the way, these sessions are only 1 hour. And if you don't go to the second session, you're only going to spend 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week, not 5 hours a day. And we say, hey, if you're not in that session, don't do this stuff because it's so fast. You make so much money so fast. There's no reason to mess around, do anything else. Okay, so Larry says, Deshaun is a great addition to the ETrade team. You're absolutely right, Larry. He really is, and he's only been there 1 day and had 2 fantastically profitable SPY trades. SPY, folks, SPY is not. It's a stock, but it's an index stock. It's huge index. And Clancy, by the way, Clancy is another client, makes incredible returns, just incredible. Today there was some talk about PSAR arrows. How do you use them? Or are they not very important?
Yeah, that's a great question, Clancy. For MicroMoment trading, we don't use them. They indicate a little long-term momentum change than is useful for us. We're usually trading much faster. We're in a trade before that PSAR comes up. So we don't use them in MicroMoment trading, but they're important in longer term.
Okay, there's a Karen. If you want to pop Karen up, I'll just go ahead and read it. Karen says, is there a problem with the covered call screener? I'm not seeing anything. As far as I know, it's not. It was working for me this morning. So I don't know. Let's look at it again tomorrow. Maybe some internet thing. I don't know. Okay, so that was Karen.
There's Monty says, do you use options or futures? No futures. These are all we're all trading options.
Yep.
Tim and Micah are buying options, selling options. I'm buying options, selling options. there's no futures. It's not speculation out there. These are right real positions right there in the market. So you don't have to know any fancy stuff about futures, and there's a whole different scenario with that stuff. We don't mess with that.
Okay, let's throw up Roberto. Well, she's got it down now. The girl behind the green, not the green curtain. We don't have a color on the curtain. I don't know what we used the curtain, the red curtain. We got in big trouble for that.
Hey, Roberto.
Yeah, Roberto, go ahead.
Peter asks, how do you keep track of market moving announcements or news? Mostly, in all honesty, I ignore them. Everything we know is in the ice chart, and because we're trading in such short intervals, it doesn't matter to us. We're looking for very immediate information that the ice charts provide for things that are going to happen in the coming seconds. So market news, it tends to get priced in beforehand. It just doesn't affect us that much. Now, I say that there are two instances where it does affect us. For instance, this morning, the Supreme Court announcements affected SPY in a huge way. Okay. Now, we knew that was coming up at 10. We were keeping our eyes out for it to see if there was some massive market movement. There was. We all capitalized on it. It was awesome. And the other thing that we look for is the Fed makes announcements typically in the afternoon. If there's a Fed announcement coming up, we will, open an afternoon session for that, because that tends to move our option markets a bit as well, pushes it around a bit. But other than that, most of the news, it's just too slow for us to trade on.
Yeah, let me say about that. We don't care which way the market's going. We don't care in the morning. We don't care. We just want it to go one way or the other, and we want to do it greatly. In other words, we're trading volume. And so we don't confuse ourselves and try to speculate, because when you start reading stories and listening to things, all of a sudden you start forming opinions in your head, and you're a speculator. And most speculators don't make any money. That's why they don't make any money, because every single person thinks about something differently, and every single one of them's wrong. So don't worry about stuff like that. We don't waste time with that. We just say, hey, the market. We just want to know what time the market's going to open, and we don't care which way it goes.
And the other thing, news is after the fact. So, what Tim was explaining, they waited for the news to hit, and then they traded on the charts. So we're not looking and saying, oh, the Supreme Court's going to have an announcement. Oh, I think the market's going to go up. I better do this, or I think it's going to go down, because you don't know what the news is actually going to be. It affects the market. So knowing that some big piece of data is going to come out, you wait, and then you react with the charts afterwards.
Yeah.
Some news comes out and you don't know what happens. And so you just react. We're not out there looking for all kinds of things that might change the market. We're just looking at the charts and reacting to what the market's doing.
And Monty says that I can do both, but prefer options. 99% of everything I do is options. Thank you, Monty. Mac says, what is the best way to get started in micro-moment trading? Well, the best way is just sign up for that seminar, and you're in it, because you don't need any. We have a big book, a workbook, 350 pages or so that Randy uses. Plus, we have a couple of published books. All you need is that seminar, because you're only going to learn one thing, and that's how to get out of a trade if it turns red. Mm-hmm. And a good way to get a good taste of it is go here on YouTube, put in MicroMoment Trading, and we record sessions. And they're run several days later after recording, so you can't really use them to enter positions, because the positions aren't going to be there. But you can see exactly what they do during the seminar. You can hear them, you can see them, you can see what they're talking about, and you get the comments from the people that attend the seminar, how they're doing. So that's the best way. Go to YouTube and check it out. Just put in MicroMoment Trading on YouTube, and you'll start pulling up some of those. I don't know how many on there recorded. You can only have so many. But I know we recorded today. It'd be a huge day when it goes to YouTube, because it would just clients were making money all over the place. It's really, really good. So that's my answer to you on that, Mac. Monty, we already did that. He prefers options.
I think we got that one.
Yeah, Roberto up here again is how do you keep track? He already answered that. We already answered Monty's there. I've got Clancy. We talked about that, the PSARA. Eric, say good morning to you, Eric. And Roberto, good morning. Deshaun is a great addition to the MMT team. I just read that again for Deshaun's benefit. He's probably over there just thinking he's such a wonderful person. You know how he is. And this is a friend. My MMT account was funded with $15,098.37. What is the present balance since you started the account? Oh, you're talking the MMT. Yeah, that's one of the corporate accounts, and it changed. We've put money in, take money out, put money in, taken out. So I don't exactly know how to answer that, but I'll find out and get it to you next time. Martha, Tim, Mac, and
let me just add that it's doing well.
Yeah, that's the one that Tim manages, and we're not real fair to it. We take money in, put money out, take money in, put money out. One day it was up, I don't know. One day it was up 9,000. Next day it was up 178,000, something like that. I can never figure it out. So anyway, this is for Randy from Logan. What percent? Well, you can read it. Go ahead, Randy.
Says, what percent have to be managed after a week of not called out, ever eventually have to close out for some loss? Most of the weeks they're all closed out for 100% capital back. Every once in a while there's one or two. I think last week one of those positions was one that was managed from the week before and closed out. So I didn't have any that rolled out into this week. Now, as far as ever eventually have to close out for some loss, if the company goes out of business.
That's it. Yep. And we've had that happen one time over 20 years. And that's a real important question. We never close for a loss because that's why Randy's technique is so important. It's a management. You don't run into management with the micro moment because it's so fast, there's nothing to manage. But Randy's position, you actually buy, a stock or a option on the stock, or whatever, and but you're never going to sell that for a loss. And if you buy it and the market goes up, you have the ability to get out of it for a profit. If the market goes down after you bought it and establish a position, you have the ability to get out of it for a profit. So he's constantly turning over profits. It used to be a long time in the olden days when Randy and I, back in the cowboy days, horse and buggy days, when Randy and I started this stuff, the SEC, but the CBOE only had one option period, and that was the third Friday of each month. They still have that option period, third Friday. But now, many stocks, not 100% of them, but many stocks have weekly options, and even some of them have weekly expirations. Some of them have 2 or 3 expirations during the week now. So instead of getting 5% per month, which was our goal before, now you can easily get 5% on a Friday expiration several times a month. So you make 4 or 5 times what we used to make. And so everything the CBOE has done in all these 20 years has been to our benefit. They've never done one single thing that's been detrimental to our process. And besides that, all the online brokers have become wonderful, fantastic. Used to be ETrade was about it, and it was terrible. And now they're all good. I mean, they're all you do things today that you couldn't even do, and the information you couldn't even get. We couldn't do MicroMoment stuff 20 years ago. We couldn't have done it.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
You imagine doing it on a touch tone phone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
With the dial-up modem.
At one point, ETrade had a deal where you could enter orders on a touch tone phone. Oh my God, it was terrible. Enter and get out on a touch tone phone, and like Randy said, back with the old dial-up modems, you'd enter a trade. You wanted to buy IBM. And some people, we have always found these out on the weekend seminars we'd do. They say, well, I got a real problem here. I wanted to buy IBM. And I hit the key, and I waited. It didn't execute. I hit it again. Well, they didn't buy it once. They bought it 3 or 4 times, so they, instead of having a couple $1,000, they had a couple $100,000. And then sometimes it's just the reverse. They finally get into something, and then they start to sell it. And then they'll sell it 4 or 5 times. It was just a mess. We didn't have that anymore.
Another thing on Logan's question, one of the big important parts of the whole cover call process is the selection of the position that you're going to use. Mm-hmm. So it's critical to follow all the rules on what company that I'm buying. So yeah, the process could be used on anything, but if you go out and get some wild speculative company that might be, it opened up, Nikola or whatever, opened up at 35 or whatever, went last week up to 60 or 70 or 80, and it's back down to 40. You don't use those because those are too speculative. I try to stick with good, solid, quality companies that have revenue, that have earnings, that have solid product base, that have a solid customer base, that are more than likely not going out of business. Microsoft's probably not going out of business. Amazon's probably not going out of business. Apple's probably not going out of business. So it comes down from a good part is what you use to get into to start with to keep having to close out positions that have gone out of business. So, but you learn all that in the webinars.
Now this person is Martha. Martha is our cheerleader, and Martha says Tim and Micah and Joe have taught me a skill that has changed my life. Can't thank you enough. And Mark is also our greatest cheerleader. She has on a little, cheerleader sweater, got everybody's name on it. And every time they do good, she says, way to go. Micah, way to go. Deshaun, way to go, whoever.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I can say the same thing Martha says. I'm just simply passing on what's been taught to me as I continue to learn and get better at what I do. And that is one thing about our community is we do help each other to get better in our trading, which is pretty cool too.
And Joseph says, "Mass strike again." Glad you're okay, Joe. That's right. And Deshaun speaking Spanish today. Hola. That's I think that's the only word Deshaun knows in Spanish.
Another big thing is all of these processes we're trading from home. We didn't have to worry about being locked down or not being locked down. We're already trading from home or anywhere else that you are. Yep. As long as you have an internet connection, you're not tied to any one location. So if I'm traveling between my kid's house to go visit the grandkids, or I haven't been on an airplane now for 5 months, but when I used to fly around on airplanes, you can trade at the airport, you can trade at your hotel room, you can trade on the plane. You're not locked down to a physical location, and it's so flexible. Yeah. Especially with Tim and Micah, you trade when you want to, and you don't trade when you don't want to. It's all your choice, and so that's what's fantastic about learning a process that you can generate your own income, not relying on somebody else. You can generate it, take control of your own finances, and you can do it for the rest of your life.
And you don't need a lot of equipment. Deshaun has mastered trading on an iPhone. Now, you can do it on other phones. It doesn't have to be an iPhone, but I'm familiar with the iPhone and the charts and everything, the trading screen, everything is so easy. You can do these trades on an iPhone. So you don't have to worry about carrying around a bunch of screens and stuff. They're great if you need, if you like to have that much stuff, but you don't have to. And if you look at Tim right now, see how suspicious Tim looks. Now, Tim is over there. He usually does trades during these sessions. Have you done a trade during this session?
I haven't, but I'm close. I've been close several times.
Okay. What about Randy? Randy also does trades during this session.
Yeah, I entered a cover call, though. It wasn't a trade the moment.
Okay, it wasn't trade the moment. Okay. Okay. Well, any more questions? We only get about 5 minutes here, and we're 44 and a half into that. So we'll be signing off. It's been a great session. And I think it was great because Michael wasn't here to talk the whole time. So we got to actually say something, and he's singing to the mountains up in Wyoming, and they're singing back to him, I guess. But thanks everybody for being here. We'll be here next Thursday. Sign up for that 2-day seminar next weekend. Cover Call Leaps. There's probably a link in that website, www.micromomenttrading.com.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody, and thanks you guys for being here. And next weekend we'll have Deshaun and get his wisdom. And when we have that 2-day seminar, you'll be able to talk. I'll open this phone line so you'll be able to ask questions. The first time I've ever done that, and it worked out real well. And so it's good. It's good. Okay, guys, thanks very much. Sue Ann, thank you very much for substituting for Marcus. And you can come out behind the screen there and cut this thing off. Thanks.
Dan.
Bye.
See you. Have a good week, everybody. Great weekend. Take care.
Okay.